Hello everyone, welcome to Stoic Wisdom today. We live in an age of comfort, yet we feel weaker than ever. Life didn't get harder, we just got softer. The Stoics believed strength isn't given, it's forged in fire. Modern life seems easy. With one tap, you can order dinner, distract yourself with endless entertainment, and escape almost any discomfort. Yet, despite all this comfort, so many of us feel anxious, restless, even fragile. Why? Because comfort quietly erodes our resilience. It lulls us into weakness without us realizing it. Here's the truth. Life will never stop throwing storms our way. But whether those storms break us or shape us depends on the strength of our mindset. And that's where Stoic philosophy comes in. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, weren't ivory tower philosophers. They were men who lived in chaos. Emperors leading armies, exiles stripped of freedom, thinkers facing death and disease. And yet they found calm, purpose, and even joy in the middle of it all. How? By treating life itself as training, by turning every hardship into fuel for strength. Think about your own life. That stressful meeting, the argument at home, the health scare you didn't see coming, those moments aren't interruptions, they are the training. They're not proof that life is unfair. They're invitations to grow tougher, calmer, and more capable. This video isn't about chasing an unrealistic life free of struggle. It's about building an unshakable one. We'll explore 8 brutal Stoic laws, and I call them brutal because they refuse to sugarcoat reality. They cut straight to the truth, even when it stings. But if you embrace them, they can rewire how you think, how you act, and how you face life. Stick with me, because each law has the potential to shift everything. By the end, you won't just understand Stoicism. You'll carry tools to live with resilience, clarity, and inner power. Let's begin with the first law. It might sound harsh, but it's the foundation of every unshakable life. Law 1. Face pain, like a ruthless but loyal trainer. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. We hit snooze to dodge the cold morning air. We scroll endlessly to escape boredom. We eat junk to quiet hunger for a moment. But here's the catch. Every time we run from discomfort, we hand over power. Slowly, comfort steals our fire, our discipline, our edge. The Stoics flipped this script. To them, pain wasn't an enemy. It was a coach. Not a gentle coach, but a ruthless trainer who pushes you beyond your limits. And like any good trainer, pain doesn't exist to punish, it exists to shape you. Think about Marcus Aurelius. He didn't write his meditations from a sunny villa sipping wine. He wrote them on the front lines of war, surrounded by betrayal, illness, and the crushing responsibility of ruling Rome. His calm wasn't born in comfort. It was hammered into place by adversity. It's no different for us. Lifting weights is pointless if you fear sore muscles. In life, avoiding small discomforts leaves you unprepared for the big storms. But if you choose to train with pain, if you willingly step into it, you discover a powerful secret. You stop fearing it. Here's how to practice. Take a cold shower when your mind begs for warmth. Speak the difficult truth instead of hiding in silence. Sit with boredom without reaching for a distraction. These aren't punishments. They are push-ups for the will. Every time you embrace discomfort, you prove to yourself, I can endure more than I thought. You don't have to start big. Even the smallest act of chosen discomfort, parking farther away and walking, leaving your phone in another room for an hour, finishing that one extra rep at the gym, teaches your mind, see, I can handle more than I think. Small wins stack into unshakable strength. And here's the real shift. When you stop seeing pain as something to escape, you start seeing it as sacred. It becomes the arena where fragile minds break but strong spirits are born. So repeat this to yourself. Discomfort is my training ground, not punishment, not cruelty, but the gym where my spirit grows. That's the first brutal Stoic law. Don't run from pain. Train with it and let it transform you. Law 2. Stop being a slave to emotion. How many times has this happened to you? One rude comment ruins your whole day. One driver cuts you off and suddenly you're carrying anger for hours. One careless remark from a coworker and your peace is gone. In that moment, you've handed over control of your life to someone else. Epictetus put it sharply, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. Think about that. If one stranger's insult can hijack your mood, then who's really in charge? Not you. The Stoics didn't say we should erase emotions. They weren't robots. Instead, they studied emotions, like scientists studying storms. They understood that beneath every emotional outburst lies a belief, a story you tell yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Translation: it's not the event that hurts you, it's the meaning you attach to it. So how do we regain control? By learning to pause. One deep breath creates space between stimulus and response. That space is where your freedom lives. Instead of snapping back in 1 second, wait 10. Ask yourself, is this emotion useful right now? Will it move me closer to who I want to be? Here's the difference. Reacting blindly is surrender. Responding with intention is mastery. A truly strong person feels deeply, anger, sadness, joy, but doesn't let those emotions steer the ship. Anger may rise, but they breathe. Sadness may knock, but they don't let it unpack and stay forever. And here's a practice. The next time you feel triggered, picture your mind as the captain of a ship in stormy seas. Emotions are waves. They crash, they roar, they pass. You don't fight the waves. You hold the wheel steady. Daily reminder, I feel deeply, but I choose wisely. That's Stoic power, not being untouched by life, but being unmoved by nonsense. Law 3, let go of fairness. Life owes you nothing. You do everything right, and still life knocks you down. You stay loyal, yet a friend betrays you. You put in the work, but someone else, less dedicated, gets the reward. And deep inside, that voice shouts, this isn't fair. But here's the blunt Stoic truth. Life is not fair, and it never promised to be. The idea of fairness is something we humans invented to make sense of the world. But nature doesn't play by those rules. Earthquakes don't strike only corrupt cities. Illness doesn't skip over kind people. The storm does not ask who deserves shelter. Marcus Aurelius, as Emperor of Rome, witnessed injustice daily. Corrupt senators, dishonest generals, citizens betrayed by leaders. Did he like it? Of course not. But he trained himself not to expect fairness. He anchored his strength in one principle. Strength, not fairness, decides who endures. Here's why this matters. When you cling to fairness, you make yourself fragile. You're essentially begging the world to treat you kindly, and when it doesn't, you collapse. But when you train for reality instead of fairness, you stop waiting to be rescued. You become resilient, unbreakable. So what's the Stoic response when life is unfair? Stop asking, why me? Start asking, what now? Use betrayal to strengthen your loyalty. Use rejection to sharpen your persistence. Do what's right, not because life is fair, but because you choose integrity, even when no one else does. Here's a practice you can try. The next time you feel wronged at work, maybe you're overlooked for credit on a project, pause before resentment takes over. Write 2 columns. On the left, everything outside your control. On the right, the actions still within your reach. Tear up the left list. Focus only on the right. That's how you train for reality. And here's another one. Reflect on a past injustice. Instead of replaying the wound, ask yourself, what strength did this teach me? What did I gain that fairness could never give? Often, the most unfair blows reveal the deepest growth. Think about sports for a moment. The referee makes a bad call. The game feels unfair, but champions don't waste energy arguing with reality. They adjust, they refocus, they play harder. Life is the same. You can burn out shouting unfair, or you can double down on what's in your control and keep moving forward. Daily affirmation, I don't expect fairness. I train for reality. Because when you stop needing life to be fair, you stop living as a victim. And when you stop living as a victim, you finally start living free. Law 4, focus on what you can control. Let go of the rest. Look around. Most people are drowning in worry. They stress about the news, about what their neighbors think, about the economy, the past, the future, everything they cannot control. And all that energy, all that life force, gets wasted on things that will never bend to their will. The Stoics had a radical clarity. Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. It sounds simple, but living it is a lifelong practice. Think of life like sailing a ship. You can't calm the sea, you can't control the wind, but you can grip the wheel, set the sails and steer. The average person panics at every wave. The Stoic navigates, steady and focused. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That realization is freedom. Because once you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you reclaim all that wasted energy for the one thing you can master, yourself. Here's how this looks in modern life. You don't control the weather, but you do control whether you complain or adapt. You don't control your boss's mood, but you do control your effort and your response. You don't control whether people like you, but you do control the integrity of your choices. Think about how much energy we waste online. You don't control strangers arguing in a comment section, yet many of us lose hours trying to win battles on the internet. You don't control the stock market, yet you refresh the numbers until your stomach twists. The Stoic approach: step back, put your focus where it actually makes a difference. Try this practice. When you feel stressed, pause and ask one question: is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, release. Write it down if you must. Draw a line through everything beyond your reach, then double down on what remains. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means refusing to carry what was never yours to carry. It means putting down a burden that doesn't belong in your hands. Daily affirmation: I focus on what I can control. The rest is not mine to carry. And in that simplicity, you discover peace, not by changing the world, but by mastering your response to it. Law 5: choose hardship before life chooses it for you. Most people train for comfort. The Stoic trains for chaos. In a world obsessed with ease, fast food, instant delivery, endless entertainment, discipline becomes a rare superpower. If you only grow when life forces you, you'll always be one step behind. But if you choose hardship voluntarily, you build strength that nothing can take away. Seneca, one of the great Stoics, practiced this deliberately. He slept on the floor, wore rough clothing, and ate simple food. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to prove to himself, if I lost it all, I could still endure. That's the essence of voluntary discomfort. You face the thing you fear, and in doing so, you break its power over you. Here's the truth: the easiest path builds the weakest spine. Muscles don't grow without resistance, and neither does the mind. When you embrace small hardships on purpose, you train your spirit before the storm arrives. You fast not to punish your body, but to free it from control. You wake up early not because it's pleasant, but because it builds command. You say no to luxury, not out of scarcity, but out of strength. You don't have to make this dramatic. Start small, skip a meal and notice you're fine. Take a cold shower and breathe through the shock. Leave your phone in another room and sit with stillness. Each act whispers to your soul, I am not fragile. I can endure more than I thought. Think about the difference when hardship inevitably arrives. The person who's trained for comfort panics. The person who's trained for discomfort adapts. They've already walked through fire by choice, so when flames appear unexpectedly, they don't flinch. Here's a daily practice. Once a week, choose one simple hardship. Maybe it's eating plain food, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or going a day without your favorite indulgence. Notice how quickly your mind protests and how quickly it also adapts. Daily affirmation: I don't wait for hardship, I train for it. Because when you choose discomfort before life chooses it for you, you stop fearing pain. And instead of being broken by struggle, you are forged by it. Law 6: detach from outcomes. Fall in love with the process. You pour yourself into a project. Late nights, careful planning, all the heart you can give. Then the numbers arrive. Fewer sales than hoped, a quiet comment section, a manager who barely notices. Instantly, your mood drops. It feels like the work didn't count. Why? Because your happiness was tethered to a result you never fully controlled. Here's the Stoic shift. Detach from outcomes, attach to effort. Let the scoreboard be a byproduct, not your oxygen. Marcus Aurelius wrote, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Translation: anchor your peace in what you can do now. Honest effort, full attention, consistent action, not in the applause that may or may not come later. Results are slippery. They can be delayed, distorted, or denied for reasons that have nothing to do with your integrity. Think like an athlete who trains before sunrise, win or lose. The practice itself is the victory because it forges strength that no trophy can grant and no loss can steal. Or think like a craftsman. The love isn't only in selling the table, it's in sanding the grain, fitting the joints, and signing the underside with pride, even if no one sees it. When your identity rests in the quality of your actions, you become steady. When it rests in outcomes, you become fragile. There's a trap here. Outcome dependence breeds addiction. A compliment feels like a high. A bad review feels like suffocation. You start chasing approval, refreshing dashboards, and negotiating your values for one more hit of validation. But process dependence breeds freedom. You can walk tall after a quiet launch because you know the work was true. You can learn from a loss without crumbling because your self-respect never came from the win. Behaviors you will control. How do you practice this today? Try 3 moves. 1. Redefine success at the start. Before a task, write a 2-line process goal. The behaviors you will control, e.g., write 1,000 focused words in 90 minutes, no phone. 2. Audit the day by effort, not trophies. Each evening ask, how did I show up, rather than what did I get? Give yourself credit for honesty, focus, and follow through. 3. Create a validation firewall. Check metrics, sales, likes, ratings on a schedule, say once a week, never in real time. Use the data to learn, not to decide your worth. A simple mantra to carry: I work with intensity, not expectation. Your value lies in your discipline, your attention, your courage to keep showing up, especially when no one's clapping. Paradoxically, this is what improves outcomes over time. You're less desperate, more consistent, and far more present with the work itself. When you fall in love with the process, the world can't push you around. Praise is welcome, silence is tolerable, and failure is fuel. Results may come or they may not, but either way, you walk forward with peace, knowing you've already won by how you chose to work today. Law 7. Embrace death. Live with urgency and purpose. We live as if time is unlimited. We put off our dreams until someday. We stay stuck in jobs that drain us, relationships that don't fulfill us, and routines that waste our energy. We scroll hours away on our phones, telling ourselves tomorrow will be different. But here's the truth. The Stoics never forgot. You could leave life right now. That reminder isn't meant to depress you. It's meant to wake you up. The Stoics practiced memento mori. Remember that you must die. Seneca wrote, "It's not that life is short, but that we waste much of it." Life feels short because we trade priceless hours for trivial pursuits. We act like we'll live forever, but deep down we know our time is finite. Accepting that fact changes everything. Modern culture tries to hide death. We avoid talking about it. We push it out of our minds with distractions. But pretending it doesn't exist only makes us careless with our days. The Stoics turned toward death, not away from it, because it sharpened their sense of urgency. Death, paradoxically, was the teacher that made life more vivid. Imagine if this were your last day. Would you spend it angry at a coworker? Would you waste it comparing yourself to strangers online? Or would you call your kids, write the story you've been carrying for years, or finally take the leap toward a dream you've postponed? When you embrace death, embarrassment shrinks, fear shrinks, failure shrinks, because compared to the final end, none of those things matter. Here's how you can practice this mindset. Morning reflection. Each day ask, if this were my last sunrise, how would I spend today? Write down one action that aligns with that awareness, then do it. Journaling. Once a week, jot down the regrets you'd feel if life ended suddenly. Use that list as a map for what truly matters. Urgency reset. When caught in trivial conflict, online debates, petty arguments, pause and ask, would this matter if I had only a month left? Almost always the answer is no. Another reminder, mortality isn't only about endings, it's about gratitude. Each time you remember life is temporary, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Coffee tastes richer, a walk feels like a gift, a conversation with someone you love becomes sacred. Daily affirmation, I live as if time is borrowed, because it is. When you embrace death, you stop waiting for permission. You stop postponing meaning. And ironically, life feels brighter, not darker. Because only when you accept its limits do you finally realize how precious, urgent, and beautiful every single moment really is. Law 8. Be a warrior for virtue, not approval. Most people live for the crowd. We perform for likes, tune our words for applause, and measure our worth by how others react. But approval is a moving target. When the noise fades, who are you then? The Stoic answer is simple and uncompromising. Do not live for approval, live for virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter." Reputation comes and goes. Opinions swing like weather. If your identity is tied to those swings, you will bend yourself into shapes that win claps but cost your integrity. Virtue, honesty, courage, discipline, justice is the solid ground that does not shift under your feet. Think about how fragile the crowd can be. Today you are praised, tomorrow you are criticized by the same people for the same behavior. Social media magnifies this volatility. If your emotional state rises and falls with every notification, you are not free. You are managed by strangers. The Stoic chooses a different master, conscience. So what does it mean to be a warrior for virtue in modern life? It means keeping your word even when no one will know. It means saying the uncomfortable truth without cruelty. It means training hard when there is no camera and doing your work thoroughly when the shortcuts look tempting. It means refusing to trade your values for applause or to compromise principles for a seat at the table. Here are practices you can use. Before decisions, ask, if no one gave me credit for this, would I still do it? If yes, proceed. When tempted to posture online, pause and ask, am I seeking impact or attention? Build a private standard, a list of non-negotiables you follow even in silence: truthfulness, fairness, patience, restraint. Schedule a weekly motive audit. Review 3 actions and name the real driver: service, fear, habit, or vanity. Adjust next week's choices accordingly. Expect resistance. Living by principle may cost you praise, invitations, even income in the short term, but it gives you something the crowd can never sell back: self-respect. Over time, integrity compounds. Teammates come to trust you, loved ones rely on you. Your word becomes a promise that does not need a signature. Daily affirmation: I live for truth, not for applause. Here is the paradox: when you stop chasing approval, your voice grows clearer, your work improves, and genuine respect often follows. People are drawn to steadiness in an age of performance. Yet even if recognition never arrives, you remain whole. The scoreboard cannot tell you who you are. That verdict belongs to your character. So be a warrior for virtue. Let the crowd cheer or boo. Let the algorithm spike or sag. Choose the right action consistently, especially when it is least convenient. Because at day's end, when the lights are off and no one is watching, you will still possess the one prize that endures, a self you can look in the eye without flinching. And that quiet certainty is worth more than 1,000 standing ovations. Consider the colleague who quietly fixes problems no one sees, the nurse who follows protocol when shortcuts would be easier, the parent who tells the truth gently instead of buying peace with a lie. That is virtue in motion, ordinary moments, chosen with extraordinary care. Final thoughts: building an unshakable Stoic mindset. No one is born unshakable. Strength of mind is built, choice by choice, day by day, until calm becomes your default and storms become your training. That's the journey you and I have walked through together today. 8 brutal, liberating laws you can live, not just learn. Here's the distilled map. Face pain as a trainer, not an enemy. Refuse to be a puppet of emotion. Let go of fairness and deal in reality. Focus on what's in your control. Release what isn't. Choose hardship before life chooses it for you. Detach from outcomes and fall in love with the process. Remember death so you live urgently and fully. Fight for virtue, not applause. These aren't slogans, they're practices. Your inbox, that tense meeting, the toddler meltdown, the unexpected bill, none of these are interruptions. They're reps. When you treat life like a gym for your character, everyday frictions become chances to train. One honest breath, one disciplined action, one brave decision at a time. Start small and start now. Tomorrow morning, take the cold shower or the extra walk. In your next conversation, pause before reacting and choose the response you'll be proud of. When disappointment hits, ask, what now, instead of why me? When praise shows up, accept it graciously, then get back to work. Brick by brick, you're laying the path toward a steadier, freer you. Thank you for watching Stoic Wisdom today. If this message resonated with you, even a little, don't let it fade with the next video. Save this, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you can train with us each week. We dive into the timeless tools that help you stand firm in a noisy world. I'd genuinely love to hear from you. Which of the 8 laws spoke to you most right now, and why? Is it embracing discomfort, letting go of fairness, focusing only on what's in your control, or anchoring yourself in the process? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm waiting. I'll be reading every single one, and I'll do my best to reply thoughtfully, because this channel isn't just about broadcasting, it's a conversation and a community. If you want a next step, choose one law and make it concrete for the next 7 days. Write a tiny daily commitment, 30 words or less, and track it. At the end of the week, reflect. What got easier? What still trips you up? Then adjust and keep going. That is Stoicism in motion. Honest awareness, steady practice, and quiet courage. Life won't slow down. The algorithm won't rescue your attention. But you can become the person who meets chaos with clarity, meets pressure with poise, and meets hardship with heart. That strength doesn't arrive someday. It's available in the next choice you make. If this helped you, please like the video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who wants to grow stronger from the inside out. Welcome to the community. Until next time, stay grounded, stay calm, stay stoic.